Christmas, Happy New Year. First video back in a while. Been crazy busy with work, so haven't had a chance to really do a lot on the machine lately, which has kind of sucked. So I'm looking forward to getting back and doing some more stuff. But yeah, what I'm going to be doing today, I know a lot of you have probably seen the new PathPilot version 2.10 that's come out, and it adds the option to do the separate mist cooling along with flood coolant buttons. In my machine's case, if you've seen some of the stuff I've done on like the Facebook groups, I've been working on a full washdown system. And right now I had to go a very roundabout way using the USB I/O system, and then built out a whole relay system and everything to turn on and off the secondary motor or secondary pump that runs the washdown system. So I've been using the La Rosa new coolant tray, the much larger one, so it's like 25 gallons rather than the standard 8 gallon for the 1100 MX machine. And it has an option for a second pump, so I have a 1/2 horsepower pump in there running 5/8 or 3/4 inch diameter piping, and then built in a whole washdown system that I've kind of been testing, and so far it's been working pretty well. The problem with it is that during the machine operations, you have to turn it on and off using the user buttons within PathPilot. And while you have a program running, you can't turn that on and off manually. So I could go in and program in all of the M codes to turn that on and off, but once they came out with this update for PathPilot with the mist button, that's going to be awesome, because now I can just go in and hit that button even in, or like mid program, and turn that on, wash down any of the chips that are building up in there. Because I'm not planning on having it run the entire time. I guess I could, but I haven't actually tried that yet. So to make that all work, Tormach came out with their service bulletin 10828 for the mist power outlet installation. To my knowledge, this is only valid for their M and MX series mills. So if you're on like just the original 770 or the 440, or even I believe just like the older style machines before the 770M through MX, or the 1100M through MX series mills, this won't work. If that's incorrect, leave it in the comments below. But anyway, I haven't found any videos of the walkthrough on this. The instructions are pretty straightforward, but I figured I'd put a video together for you guys walking through the process of installing this outlet and then testing it out and see. So from the instructions, it calls for a 3 amp fuse that's going to go in there, soft blow fuse. I have read that the wiring can handle up to a 5 amp fuse. I'm going to try this with a 3 amp. It's a 1/2 horsepower pump, so theoretically I believe I'm under that 3 amps continuous, but I don't know what the power draw is on the initial start of the pump, because obviously getting an electric motor going draws more power than just running it continuously. So we're going to try it with the 3 amp. If it blows out, I have read online that technically all the wiring is good for up to 5 amps. So if the 3 amp blows, then I will try a 4 amp, and if the 4 amp blows, I'll try the 5 amp. Currently, the way I have it wired up using my relay kit and everything that I built, I have a 5 amp fuse in there, and I haven't had any issues yet. So we'll give it a go. We'll see, and hopefully this helps some of you guys out. And if I run into any surprises in the process of this, then we can figure it out together. So yeah, let's jump in here. I'll give you a little rundown on all of the parts that are needed. In the description, I'll put a link to the PDF that Tormach provided, and they provide an awesome material list along with all the DigiKey links for everything that you need for this. It doesn't say necessarily how many of everything you need, like it just says ferrules. It doesn't say how many, so I ordered I think 10 of them, which I think is more than enough, but from what it sounds like, I'm gonna need 5, but we'll see. So anyway, yeah, let's jump into this and see how it goes. So here are the components that we need for this build, this upgrade. All these parts are listed in the PDF, like I mentioned before, but to start off, we have the power cable. This is what's going to be fed through the back of the enclosure. And then next up we have about 10 feet of 16 gauge stranded wire. It says not to use solid wire. But yeah, this is a stranded 3 amp soft blow fuse or slow blow fuse. Like I said, we're going to try this out. If it doesn't work, I'll jump to a 4 amp. And then this is the connector and the wire holder or cable holder that'll come pass through the power cable out of the back of the enclosure. These are ferrule crimps, so these will be going on the end of the wires. You do need a special crimper to hold those or get them to crimp onto the wires, so just be aware of that. I'll leave a link in the description to the one that I'm using. These are the wire labels. I printed these out on heat shrink, so I have a label maker that can handle the heat shrink. It's the Epson. I think it's like 700 something. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. And then these are the terminal block connectors. So I wasn't entirely sure how many of these I needed, but I got 3 to be safe. I don't think I need them. I think it's just 1. But. So yeah, we'll jump into the enclosure now and start taking out the stuff that I had done previously and then start installing this new one. These are the 2 holes. You can choose either one of these. This is where the wire, the power cable is going to pass through from the inside of the enclosure to the outside. Then you can plug whatever you want into it. So then we'll open up the cabinet. And the main areas that we're going to be dealing with are here on the PathPilot controller. We're going to be tapping into these 2 ports here. I think it's J5.3 and J5.4. We'll confirm that, but this is where we're going to be going into. We will have to remove this clear panel here to get to this fuse holder. Actually, I might be able to fit one in through there, but the 3 amp fuse that we're going to be using is going to go into this slot right here. So down here, we're going to be looking for this 109 slot. This is our spare. We'll be tapping into this location here. And then we'll also need to be plugging into our grounding block, the PE block here. So those will be the areas that we're going to be focusing on. And then this little fun nest is what my current setup is for my wash down. So this is all going to get removed. I'll clean this all back up again. And then I will be keeping the I/O because eventually I'm going to add the air assist because I have the La Rosa coolant ring that has the air. So I just need to get that done. And then I also want to add like a air clean for the top of the tool setter just because chips like to sit on that now. So we'll go ahead and grab our parts and we'll start walking through the steps and get this all installed. One of the really big things is make sure your power is off. We're going to be dealing with live full 220 volts, so we don't want to be doing anything inside here with this off or with this on. So make sure it's turned off. Safe bet is to also just unplug power from the wall if that's possible, and just make sure you really aren't going to fly yourself across the garage or your shop. That'd be bad. I take no responsibility if you end up doing that to yourself. All right, so what we're going to do now, we have our main power cord here, and we need to strip off about 3 feet of insulation off of this just so we have enough to run the wires individually through the machine. So I'm just going to guesstimate here. I'm 6 feet tall, so my arm is a little bit over 3 feet. So I'm just going to do that. Not much of it. So yeah, just trim this right here and then come off. So we're going to have to do this pretty carefully. I don't want to cut into the wire itself. It started, so I should just be able to pull this and almost there. There we go. Cool, got it. So here's our approximately 3 feet of wire. So yeah, now what we're going to do is we'll throw those ferrules on the end here. Just get that done now so we don't have to deal with this wire. And then we'll feed it through. So these are the ferrule crimps that I bought. I said I'll leave a link in the description below. Pretty cool though. It's just like a hole pattern there, and you stick the ferrule in like so. Make sure that you're just getting the metal part. And then you just squeeze down, and it has all these little gripper things here. I'll get it to focus. You just squeeze and it closes down and grips it. So pretty cool. So yeah, so we're going to throw these on the end of the wire that we just stripped, and we'll also get the labels on there. What we're going to do is our ground. So I have the PE right here. Get to focus on that. So we just slip that over, and then we will use a heat gun to heat shrink that on, just like that. So PE goes on our green yellow wire, and then this cable doesn't have black, but it has a brown wire, so the black is going to get the label of the 130, and then our blue wire, because I'm on the 1100 MX machine, we're going to get wire 104, and then the 109 labels will go on our 16 gauge wire here. So we went ahead and heat shrank the labels onto our power cable, and then I also went ahead, just off camera, did the heat shrink on my the other 16 gauge wire that we need for the 109. So now we have that done, we'll go ahead and put the crimps on, these ferrule crimps. So super simple. Just put this here, and then take the crimp, slide it over like this, push it down as far as it'll go, just like that. Then we'll grab our crimp tool, stick it in there. I think it's the same both sides, yeah. Focus, there we go. So just put this in here like that. Make sure you're not getting the plastic, and then squeeze. And there it is, nice and snug. So got that one done. We'll do it for the others now. It's very satisfying. I like the sound, and it just feels cool. Okay, anyway, so now that we have all those done, we can get the tools out of the way. All of our wires are crimped and labeled. And now we'll go back into the machine and start putting everything through. Wiggling myself back here, but we have these are the two knockout holes, and then here's our wire grip. So we'll knock out this bottom hole, and we're going to stick this in here. We'll use the nut to captivate that. So I'm just using a little kind of pointy pick thing to grab that, pull it out, make a hole, and we're going to grab this and stick that in there like so. And then we have to open up the cabinet, which you can't see, but you get the idea. And we'll run the nut under the back and tighten the whole thing down. Yeah, there we go. It's nice and snug. So I'm just going finger tight with it. I don't think it's going to need anything more than that. But so now that we have that, we're going to grab our power plug, and then kind of feed that through. We have our wire. We also have our wire holder, and then we have our cap. So make sure you don't forget to put the cap over the wire before you feed this through. We're going to run it through like this. Just drop that down, and then take our wire, stick it in here like this, and grab, open it up inside. Feed all this through until we're back into the sheathing part. We'll get a little bit of the sheathing in there. That should be good. And I have probably about 3.5, 4 feet of this power cable left over, which is perfect. And then we'll take this and just tighten this down like that. Oh, I wish I had about 3 more feet of room behind my machine. This make this a lot easier. All right, so now you can see that's nice and secure in there. It's not going to go anywhere if it gets pulled on. Keep it all nice. So now we'll go ahead and move inside the electrical cabinet, and we'll show you what we're doing next in here. Now I got the old wiring out of here. We're going to go ahead and open up these Raceways and be able to get start feeding the new wiring through it. So basically we have to get from this 109 block here. We need to get a wire from here down on the ground and then all the way up to the top where the path by the ECM is located. So basically I have to pull most of the Raceways off to be able to cleanly run those wires. I guess technically you don't need to do that if you don't want to, but I want to just keep it all nice looking. Go in and locked. Cool. So we'll kind of tuck this in here, and now we have to string this all the way from here and then get it up to path pilot controller up top. And I don't know why it wanted 10 feet of this, because I have about 7 feet of wire left over still. So I would say you can easily get away with significantly less wire. So I'm just going to kind of put this back and forth in here. Kind of tuck it in there to get rid of some of this extra slack. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to cut this and make it a lot smaller. I have extra ferrules, so I don't see the point in hiding all this extra wire in there. So I'm just going to go to probably about there and cut that off. So I'll do this off camera. Redid that wire, made it a lot shorter. Probably took 4.5 feet off of the original wire, maybe more than that. So now we have this, and we're going to connect it into here. So this 109 wire is going to go into the J5.3 location. So I checked the electrical schematic. It's page 276 in the user manual, and 5.3 is the second from the right, and then 5.4 is the one on the furthest to the right. So I'm just going to pop this out carefully. I have a little bit more room in there. Then we're going to take our 109 wire that we just did. Again, I don't have very great room in here to use 2 hands. I'll just slide that in there like this. Small flathead screwdriver and secure it. There we go. I'm not going to put it back in yet because we have one more wire that we need to run into there. So actually I'm going to pull this whole panel off. Cover. There we go. Or open it. So I'm going to take this and tuck this back down inside, like so. There we go. Okay, so we have that first one in there. And then now the next wire that's going to go into there is the wire 130 that's coming off of that power cord. So it's in the instructions, it's labeled as the black wire, but mine doesn't have black, so it is the brown wire. So I'm going to untwist this from the rest of the group. There's a little extra wire on this also, but that's okay. So confirming wire 130, and that goes into J5.4, which is the furthest to the right in this connector. I'll do the same thing and take it and stick in like that. Grab our screwdriver if I can remember where I set it down. There it is up on top. tighten this down. All right, those are all plugged in. And now we can take this whole thing and plug it back into our ECM board, like so. There we go. And then just a little cable management here. Take all of our new cabling, tuck that inside like so. That's all of our connections into our ECM board. We will have to pop that fuse in there. We'll do that last though. So our next one is going to be our green wire. That's the coming from the power cord. And that's going to go into any of the open terminal blocks labeled on that green terminal section labeled PE. So I'll move the camera down there so you can see that. Take this, we're going to carefully run it down along the side here into this terminal, or this raceway. There's a couple really small little wires in here, so just gotta be careful you don't rip one of those. So we can go into this block here, and it's any open block on that. They all look like they are attached together. So I'm just gonna go into this very first one here. After a lot of fighting, I finally got it in there. So pull this excess out, make it all look nice and pretty. I'm just gonna tuck this back down inside here. Next up, we have our final connection that we need to make, which is the 104, and that's going to go into the 104 block, which is going to be up top. So move the camera again, and we'll get it in there. Okay, so we're going to be doing the 104N. So any of these blocks here that are marked 104 work. This one's already connected, so I'm going to aim for this spot right here. This is going to be the blue wire from our power cable. And hopefully this one goes in a little easier than that last one did. There we go, nice. Cool, it's in there nice and solid. Hi, so that concludes all of our wiring. So we're gonna put our covers back on, and then we'll get the fuse in there, and then pull out the voltmeter, and we're gonna go through the verification process, make sure that all of this is in here correctly, and we're not gonna blow anything up. There we go, all the covers are back in place. So we'll grab that 3 amp fuse, and we'll go ahead and throw that in the fuse holder. And then we'll go ahead and check all of our wiring. My 3 amp slow blow fuse, it's gonna go into this fuse holder right here. I think I can get this without having to take this cover off. That'd be really nice. Yeah, there we go. And just snapped in like that. There we are. It is not covered. I don't see another one of these little nice plastic cover things that's on the other fuse, and there's nothing else around it, so it should be fine. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and check our voltages and make sure that everything is correct. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go into the checking the power on this. So the instructions are saying that we take our multimeter, have it set to AC power, and then we insert the leads into our power cord. It's kind of short coming around the side, so hopefully you can kind of see it here. But basically we insert it into the 2 outside, so we have our neutral and then our load. And because I'm on the 1100 MX, it's saying that I should get 120 volts on here, even with the power turned off. So we're going to slide this in. And I am reading 0. And my machine is plugged into the wall still, so it should be getting power in here. I'm wondering if maybe the machine has to be on and then like turn my master switch on, and then this will go read what it's supposed to once there's like power supplied to the entire system. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in here like that. And then I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to try to just let this sit here. Like that. Now I'll flip the machine on. We'll see if we get the 120 volts that it says it's supposed to have. And if not, then I'll have to go back through the wiring and see what happens. But if it does come on at the 120, then we should be good, is my guess. So it should be getting 220 volts if the system is energized. So I imagine it would, once I give power to the whole machine, it should give 120 to it because I don't have it currently energized. And then once we enable the mist, it should switch and give the 220 the full voltage. So we'll flip the switch. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't blow myself up. All right, so it was showing 245 volts on that, which my house power is 240 to 245. But that's not what it's supposed to be showing. After all the troubleshooting, I literally spent probably another 2 hours going through, checking all of my wiring, everything. It was all correct. Talked to a couple people in the industry who build electrical cabinets and stuff, and even had them a little bit stumped. But turns out that the instructions that come with how to do this install are just not correct. For the verify installation piece, on page 8, the number 1, it's basically saying that when the machine is off, on the 1100 MX series, you should see 120 volts coming out of that plug. Well, that doesn't make any sense anyway because you have the main power disconnected, shuts off all power. There's no power at all in there. With that said, once you turn the power on, I was expecting to see 120 volts coming out of that plug based off of it having, you're using a relay to turn on and off one of the two legs. So I was expecting with the relay off in the open position, it would only have 120 volts coming through there, but it was still showing 240, and that's the part that was really confusing me. Basically what we figured out is that because they have that snubber circuit in there as well, it's allowing the voltage to pass through to the output on that, just not enough current to do anything. So after talking to one other person who has done this mod, he went out to his machine and measured everything, and his actually was measuring the same voltages as mine. And he asked me, he's like, hey, have you just plug the pump in and see what happens? And I hadn't tried that yet because I figured as soon as I plug it in, it was just going to go full bore anyway. Lo and behold, I plugged it in and it didn't turn on. So once I went and actually pressed the mist button on the console, then it turned on and it worked as is. So the install is correct. All the instructions during the install are correct, but during the verifying piece of the install, that part is not correct. So I'm going to reach out to Tormach and tell them they need to change that because it was super confusing. But if you do this and you're following this video and you measure this and you're on the 1100 MX, if you measure the line and the neutral pins on your plug, they are going to read 240 volts even with the relay, the mist button turned off. So what it's doing is that snubber is letting the voltage through, not letting the current through, the way, at least this is how I understand it. So that's why I was seeing the voltage there, but there wasn't enough current. So as soon as you plug in any load to it, the current is bringing that voltage down to a point where it can't actually do anything. And then once you turn on the button, it closes that relay, and that lets the full voltage and current come through and actually turns on the pump. And if you remember me saying I wasn't sure if that 3 amp fuse was going to be enough, that is the case. It is not enough. The first time I turned it on, after realizing what was going on, it blew the fuse almost instantly. Again, I'm using a 1/2 horsepower pump on this. So I replaced it with a 5 amp fuse, which I've been told by multiple people, all the wiring and the circuitry within the ECM can handle 5 amps. So I put that 5 amp fuse in there and it's working beautifully now. So I ran my machine all day today and was using the washdown system. I don't have it programmed into any of it to turn it on and off automatically, but it's really nice, like during the middle of a program running, I can just hit that mist button and it actually drops or runs the washdown. I just run it for 5-10 seconds at a time and then turn it back off again. But if you are actually going to be using the mist coolant, then it'll work that way also. So yeah, overall, very happy with the install. Very happy that it is all working. Very disappointed that Tormach can't put together a proper installation manual on this. I feel like they probably should have given this to somebody and let them run through it and be like, hey, this doesn't work. And I at least have the updated version of this because the original version didn't even tell you to put a fuse in there. So they just need to do another revision to fix this verify installation piece. But anyway, hopefully this video helps you out. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to help you out and answer them. Thanks, and I'm going to try to get some more videos coming out to you guys more often now. Just holidays and work schedule of my normal day job just kind of messed me all up. But I do have some other projects in store. I'm going to get going on those here in the next week or two. But thanks. Have a good one. Happy 2024, and see you guys soon.